Sorika, Namaskar. Welcome you all to the Environment Technology NewsHour. This is a weekly program on environment technology. As you know, this is managed by Technobiz on every Tuesday. I welcome you all for this Environment Technology NewsHour program. As you know, this is a Technobiz program. I think I'd like to give you a quick introduction to what is Technobiz. Some of you may know about Technobiz, some of you totally new to Technobiz. For the better understanding about Technobiz to all of you, Technobiz is based in Thailand, established in 2005. It is recognized as International Resource Center for Industries and Technologies. Our pillar of foundation for the Technobiz is basically in professional education, and then we offer various business services and networking events. Let's look at what kind of services we offer. We offer globally. It's not just even we are in Thailand. The services are pretty much global, and we have an exhibitions. We have training programs and conferences. We have webinars, business networks. We also offer the technical knowledge test, consulting, and also integrated marketing. So we offer education. We also have a lot of events that supports the businesses. When it comes to the business focus, we have a bit broader, and one segment is the polymer industry, rubber, plastics, polyurethane, adhesive coatings. Another thing is the process technologies, where we talk about chemical engineering, energy environment, membrane technology, filtration, separation, advanced materials, and process industry. So these are our broad focus about the Technobiz services. I hope it gives some idea. If you can always check our website technobiz.org about our services. Okay, let's get into our today's program, Environment Technology NewsHour, episode number 7. It's been a good journey since we started this program. Today we have a session focusing on the biogas production. I call it a conversation on biogas production and waste treatment in Thailand with Dr. Apipong Lamsang. He is a managing director of Popup Company Limited. Basically, the Popup is one of the largest biogas developing company in Thailand. It's been longest in the journey. Dr. Apipong, he has more than 14 years experience in the energy, environment, and water and wastewater treatment. And he's currently working with a Popup as a managing director. So we will have a conversation with him on the biogas production and waste treatment in Thailand. The format of this today's program is like we are going to have a conversation like we're having at a coffee table. So various issues about the biogas and waste treatment. You can also ask questions. I will pose those questions to if you have any talking points related to the biogas or waste treatment in Thailand. So you can also pose those points in the question box, and I will address them appropriately in the discussion. As you know, this program, we have a participant from Thailand and also outside Thailand globally. So some of the questions relevant, some of the people want to know what is going on in Thailand. Some people want, from outside point of view, some of the people, they already know, they've been established in Thailand. They like to have an overview about outlook of Dr. Apipong. So let's welcome Dr. Apipong to join this session today. Apipong, please come forward, please. You can unmute yourself.
Hello again. It's nice to see you.
Hi. Dr. Apipong, thank you very much for accepting my invitation to join this Environment Technology NewsHour. Appreciate your, for the time today.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to talk to everyone today, this evening. the issue is really relevant to today's problem on environmental issues.
And so let's get to the, our conversation. I don't call it an interview. I'm not going to ask questions, but it's more of conversation. We're kind of chit-chatting back and forth on various issues about the, biogas and, waste treatment. When you talk about waste treatment, we also cover on the industrial side, wastewater, and also the solid waste as well. Okay. I know what you are, what your profile, but for the sake of audience, I'd like to ask you that how did you get into the wastewater and wastewater treatment or waste treatment systems?
Okay, I had studied my bachelor degree in Chulalongkorn University, I think long time back, almost 20 years ago. And after graduation, I went to work in the UK for 2 years, doing the sewerage networking and modeling. It's a very challenging job because as a Thai person, you have to, talk to a lot of British people, and the work that I did was actually in Edinburgh. So talking to the Scottish people with accent is a challenging task. And after that, I came back and did my master and doctoral of engineering in environmental engineering and management in AIT. And then at that time, I graduated my doctoral in 2008 from AIT. Thanks to really my nice advisor, Professor Jit, and co-advisor, Professor Jongrak, Professor Tamarat, Professor Vishu. I think AIT has one of the best faculty members of university in Southeast Asia. And they have really nice and high quality equipment, and the atmosphere in the campus is really nice. You as an alumni of AIT
Yes.
also, I think,
Right,
I really appreciate it.
Hey, I'm your senior, man. Okay.
Yes.
Well, in AIT.
Yeah. And after 2008, I joined one of the United Nations Environmental Program as a secretariat for the acid deposition network in East Asia, or ENET. For 2 years, I worked as a program officer. But then I thought, it's UN job might not suit me. I want a more kind of challenging and more a work that is addressing today's environment. So I want to go on and do more kind of like a private sector. Then I joined Popup in 2010, which is 12 years ago. That time I joined and worked as a researcher. Then I did research in wastewater treatment. And then I move on into business development. And then, it going up from there. And now, after 12 years, I'm the managing director, looking after the business development and researching and you name it. I mean, managing director do almost everything: financing, HR, purchasing. So, and work involved not only just the biogas. I mean, Popup has initially originated as a wastewater treatment company, but then as time move on, they expand their business from just wastewater to biogas. 20 years ago, nobody knows about USB or upflow anaerobic/blanket system. I think Popup was one of the first pioneer in this field, and the owner and the founder, Mr. Likit, he's environmental engineer as well, my senior from Chulalongkorn, and he actually was the one to build the USB system in Thailand using the research. Then now, not only biogas, we move on to water reuse and recycling, solar power plant, and also looking at the solid waste management, and also turning the energy crop into biogas. So basically, Popup is now a green technology company in Thailand. And also, we also try to expand beyond Thailand to other Southeast Asia countries.
So, okay, so you are a graduate from AIT, then you're finally into Popup is because you enjoy working in the private sector, yeah. And
Right,
is Kunlikit is still active at Popup? I know when I was a student, I know about this company, you know, I was talking about 25 years ago. And so how old is Popup now?
Popup is now 31 years.
Okay.
So for an SMEs, that's I think that's quite a success, because usually SME doesn't last that long, 31 yees. And Kunlikit is still active in the company, although he takes I think he's quite senior now, and he wants to retire soon, I think. But he's still really active and eager to learn and develop projects.
It's nice to know that, you know, we're not only in the wastewater treatment, but you are kind of expanded into the other side of, you know, and the green energy. We're talking about solar and also the energy crops. It's a great journey, I think, at Popup. Yeah. I think we have a video. Let's have a look at the video on the Popup. Yeah.
Sure.
Popup focuses on service quality by building and increasing client satisfaction from one-stop service concept. The concept is to offer the most effective solution and investment in the form of a turnkey project, joint investment, acquisition of concession, and consultation. We will also continue to provide basic consultation and support even after the completion of the project. We always focus on such service mindsets for the best impression and good relationships with our clients. Over the past 2 decades, Popup has become committed to its work and completed over 100 successful projects. With their professional staff, creative researchers, state-of-the-art technologies, cost-effective solutions, and green innovations, Popup Company Limited has set the standard for sustainable renewable energy industry.
Oh, that's an interesting journey of the Popup. Eh?
Yes, indeed.
That's good. That's good. You know what is Popup means actually? Is any name for it? The meaning for it, Popup?
Yeah. Actually, you know, Mr. Likit that we talked about.
Right.
He asked a monk about his name. I think Thai people believe that the name have to match with the day that they were born.
Okay.
And apparently his name is not good for the date that he was born. So he asked the monk a new name. Then the monk gave him the name Popup. And instead of changing his name, he said, "Oh, I don't want to change the name. It's too troublesome. So let's name this as a new company." So Popup literally in Thai mean the leader.
Okay.
So that's Popup is like his name, but in the company, not himself.
Wow. So it has some story behind it. I was always wondering what does that mean. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
You're not the first one. Actually, many people ask me the same question.
Yeah, super. Dr. Apipong, we're plan to discuss about the biogas. Biogas things is not something new. I mean, even I get into environmental engineering, as I studied at AIT. At that time, only we were talking seriously about the biogas. What is happening in the biogas in production in Thailand? What kind of opportunities are still available, to explore? What is your point of view?
Right. Very good question. The biogas business has been in Thailand for, I would say, the last 12 years. And during the initial stage, there was a lot of support from the government in terms of incentive for generate and sell electricity to the grid. And also there was an incentive. If you build a biogas 10 years ago, you could get between 10 to 30 million baht grant from the government for free, just to build the plant. But still, several people are still reluctant to do biogas plant. And after this, there was a scheme like this for 5 years from Apple. And after the scheme stopped, I think the biogas business has been in decline because people are keep waiting for, there might be a new scheme coming up. Of course, there are, but not as good as the previous one. Instead of the adder for selling electricity, the government has changed to feed-in tariff. And then we have a more kind of like a national plan for alternative energy in the power development plan in 2015, then 2018. And this plan also promote renewable energy. But as you mentioned, as I mentioned, that not as good as the previous one, but still, because Thailand has a lot of raw material for biogas from several industries such as cassava or starch, palm oil, and ethanol, alcohol, and food processing industry. All these industries have high strength wastewater and waste that are suitable raw material for biogas production. If the economy are going okay, then this industry would expand. And when they expand, of course, they generate more waste. And then this waste has to be treated. So biogas business also comes into play in this sense. With that in mind, for the past 3 to 5 years, Thailand economy is not as good as 10 years ago in terms of the GDP growth. So expansion of these industries are not as large as before. So, basically the market has shrink, and then new players coming in. So I mean, I look at it and I understand, all the businesses are like this. There's a booming stage and there's a decline stage. If you can ride at the wave of the booming, then, and become the first one, then you really reap the benefit of it. So it's nowadays, I would say, biogas business is still there. There's a lot of competition, but it's still growing, although at a slower pace than before.
But when you're talking about starch or you're talking about palm oil, are they still the companies not implemented biogas projects yet? The factories still have, they're still there.
Yes, to answer your question, I would say almost 90% of the industry is already implemented biogas. The 10% that they don't have, they either come with some issues such as financial issues or areas not enough, or they are struggling with something that they cannot do it, or they just take the wastewater and sell it somewhere else. And so that's the nature of it. So if they can do it, I think they will do it, because if 90% of the industry are doing it and you are not doing it, that means you are paying more for the fuel, because biogas is alternative fuel and the cost of it is cheaper than traditional fossil fuel like bunker oil or HFO or LPG or natural gas. So the industry that do not have biogas become less competitive comparing to their peers.
And these, you mentioned that 90% of the factories are already been implemented these biogas systems. How they are performing in terms of the efficiency, whether they recovered, as what is your opinion about the biogas recovery from these wastewater treatment, whether it's a palm oil or whether it is starch or ethanol plants, and food industries as well?
Very good question. I think some of them are performing greatly. I would say it depends really on the operation and the maintenance of each industry, and again, also depends on what kind of biogas system do they have. Because if they have just a big lagoon that they can just put wastewater in, then operation and maintenance become very simple. But if they have USB system or IC, internal circulation system, which is more advanced than USB, then they really need a more skillful operator and maintenance team to make it work and to achieve high performance. But I think in terms of experience, I think these industries have long experience about biogas, to the point that some of them, they have enough knowledge and experience that some of them just construct a big lagoon by themselves. They don't need consultant or turnkey company to do it.
But what is the average recovery rate, based on your experience in all these biogas plants? How efficient they are, in terms of the percentage wise?
Right. Very interesting, because for biogas, the removal rate or the efficiency of the system depends on there are two factors. First is the raw material, and second is the system that you have. Such as if you have a lagoon system, the removal efficiency for the organic matter could be between 50-60%. But if you have the USB system, it can go up to 70-80%. It depends. But then you have to be knowledgeable and experienced to operate them. Sometimes if you have the raw material, like recently I visited an ethanol plant with big lagoon system, and sometimes you get 90% removal efficiency if the raw material is suitable for the bacteria to degrade. So it pretty much depends on the system and raw material, but I would say between 50-90% you can achieve. And the rest, if you need to make it past the discharge standard, then you would need a kind of a post-treatment like aerobic system, or sometimes it can go up to membrane system.
And for your Popup itself, they have implemented many biogas systems from industry wastewater. How many projects you guys have implemented biogas systems in the industrial wastewater for Popup?
Over 100 projects.
Okay, and out
So
of that,
far.
mostly from the agro-based industry, I guess, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
mostly in starch industry.
Okay.
When the golden age of the starch industry for Popup was like 10 years ago. And then we built maybe 5 to 6 USB plant in a year. So that was really great.
So you guys have only the, not only USB, but you also have other types of anaerobic systems also you built. Is it right? Popup?
Yes, that's correct. We also build system like CSTR, which is a continuous stir tank reactor maybe in concrete tank. And sometimes, depending on the land availability, we can build as a lagoon as well. So this kind of system is more suitable to high solid and high, maybe high oil and grease, like in palm oil meal, effluent, or what we call pomade. For the cassava pulp, we use CSTR. For energy crop, like napier grass, we also use the CSTR system. And also the organic waste, like in Rayong, we also use CSTR system.
So the CSTR is the most popular treatment technology, right?
Well, it depends on the raw material. If you say, for the pomade, yes. For the starch, no. And for organic waste and energy crop, yes, it's the kind of a system that is suitable, because USB has a limitation. It can only accept wastewater that has low level of the solids, suspended solid. And oil and grease also is not good for USB. They don't like it because it makes the granular sludge float to the top. So you need to, as a biogas professional, you need to select the right kind of system to match the raw material or the feedstock.
And of course, I don't believe that all the projects are successful or excellent, but then of course there are some challenges. I guess it's not just because of the technology; it's the way the factory operates it, and also the budget availability. So, can you talk about what kind of challenges you've been experienced? We're not just talking about Popup per se, but a general understanding about the why the biogas system, somehow the biogas systems are not up to the mark. Okay, is it related to the design issues, or is it related to the management of the feed, or it is related to the operational skills of the staff, or what is your point of view on it?
Well, very good question. I think I also ask myself the same question every time there's an issue. Like, where's the problem? Well, sometimes it depends, but I would say most of them that do not perform well could be mostly, I would say mostly, but not all the times, due to the design. Whether the design does not match the feedstock or the design is not complete, because in Thailand, I think some people, like I already mentioned that some of the industry owner, they think they are experienced enough about biogas that they do it themselves. Or I would say they are, they are smart, but because they operate their business well. But to do the biogas well, to operate them well, also you need to understand and have the correct operating parameters. So sometimes if you don't decide it, or you have some misconception about the biogas, then it could cause issues. For example, if you have a USB system and you put a lot of wastewater in with high suspended solid, it will not work. There's no way this kind of system will work because it just doesn't work that way. Or sometimes if you have the design that is not complete, for example, some of the recirculation or sedimentation is not there, or some of the unit is not functioning properly to remove oil and grease before entering the anaerobic process, then the anaerobic process will not work. They may, they could think that, okay, just do it, very simple. It might work, but sometimes it doesn't. I still see clients or potential clients nowadays that they have misconception, and I'm trying to tell them that, okay, I mean, if you change it to doing things differently, your performance and your plant effectiveness could improve, and the wastewater effluent can pass the discharge standard. So that's mainly the issue.
Yeah, it's all at the end. It's down to the understanding of the whole system. Whereas on the technology side, also the requirements on the operational criteria, and down to the staff as well, how to manage itself.
Right. Sure. Sure.
So in Popup currently, what kind of biogas projects you guys are doing? Industrial wastewater.
I would say we do all kind of industry, like organic waste, from organic fraction from municipal solid waste. We're working on one project, and we're working on 4 plants using energy crop. That is the Energy for All scheme from the government. But currently it's on hold because the government is pending the issue on complaints. And there are several other biogas from wastewater, such as from food processing, ethanol production. I think there are several projects that we are working on. It takes yes, to do this kind of project development, it takes some time.
Yeah, understandable. So still active in industrial wastewater biogas systems as well. Not only the solid waste or municipal waste, solid waste, also energy crops itself. Yeah. So when you talk about this biogas, we're talking about carbon credits or climate change, carbon trading. How do you interrelate all these words? What is going on in Thailand with reference to this biogas production, climate change, carbon trading? Can you connect together what is with the perspective of Thailand? Yeah.
Well, of course, yes. Methane, which is the main, one of the 2 main ingredients in the biogas, it has a very high climate change impact. In fact, UNFCCC has designated methane that has 25 times more harmful than carbon dioxide. But if we put methane into the boiler to burn them, or generate electricity from biogas, methane, then we reduce that 25 times to only 1 carbon dioxide. So that's how we minimize climate change through the use of the biogas. And this climate change reduction or impact can also be realized through economic instruments such as a carbon credit, whether it's a traditional carbon credit or a voluntary carbon market, which has international and Thai domestic standard. And these credit can be sold to other countries. Like Popup also operate. We operated 3 build own transfer projects, and during that time that we operate, before we transfer it to the owner, we collected the carbon credit and we can sell them to the buyers. 10 years ago, carbon credit could be sold at about maybe $18 per ton CO2 equivalent. But now I would say maybe $1, or sometimes we can sell maximum 2.5 euro per 1 ton of CO2 equivalent. So that's how it works. It helps, the people who generate biogas can capture this methane. They can get benefit from cost reduction using alternative energy, and also selling the carbon credit, and also, getting more money out of the project. But I would say it is not a really big money. I would say more kind of bonus. Thailand has a voluntary scheme, but I think the TGO, which is the agency responsible for this scheme, are trying to upgrading the standard to reach the international standard, so that people who is registered and verified using this kind of domestic scheme can also sell their credit to other countries. The buyer, one of the largest market of buyers are European countries like Switzerland or Spain or France. They buy credits at good price. So I think doing biogas is not only about getting energy, but also helping climate change, which is one of the greatest threats to humanity in this century.
Yeah, it's true, pretty much true. Yeah. So it's in the past 10 years ago, yes, you rightly mentioned at the time, carbon credit businesses, everybody wanted to do the carbon credit business. Now it's the price came down, but I think the most of the projects still integrating the project development, including the carbon credits also, right? Even the price is low.
Well, it depends. I think what I see is that some of the clients that we work with, we registered the project for carbon credit, but it's up to them to collect the data and information and transfer them to the we call the certifying bodies. If they do that, they have to send data annually to them. But if they don't, they cannot claim the carbon credit. So unfortunately, when the market crashes in I think 8 years ago, when the price came down like that, I think a lot of the projects they just abandoned the carbon credit, because you have to pay invest in registration, millions of baht, and then you also have to pay for verification. Each year you have to have the DOE or the expert to come in and verify that these carbon credit are legitimate. So they would come and do auditing maybe 2-3 days and send report and okay, these credit are verified. So you have to invest to get this credit. So 8 years ago, the price crashed to the point that it's not, financially feasible. So a lot of people just abandon them. But for Popup, we keep doing it, although we're not, for I think for almost 6 years, we couldn't make any money out of carbon credit, but we did it anyway because I thought, okay, we already invest, so even the price is very low, it's good for the environment, so we should continue doing it.
Yeah, things changed. Things changed. Yeah.
Yes, things change, and I hope that the market will not crash again. This.
And let's talk about the municipal solid waste. Okay, we have addressed the biogas in terms of more onto the industry point of view, but municipal solid waste. What is going on in currently? What Popup is doing in terms of the municipal solid waste projects?
Yes, for MSW project in Thailand, I think most people already agree that doing incineration, mass burning of MSW is the most suitable kind of technology that should be applied for waste in Thailand, because unfortunately Thai people do not have the practice of waste segregation at home yet, which I hope they would do soon. So everything just mixed together, and to separate them at the end of pipe is really difficult and troublesome task. But Popup is we are not doing incineration. We are not into incineration technology. What we do is we have technology that can produce biogas from the organic fraction that we separate from the MSW. In this case, basically, in Thai waste, we would have about 45–50% composition of organic waste or food waste. So you need some kind of machine to separate this fraction, trying to purify them, although it cannot be, it can never be completely 100% purified. But as much as we can, then we can have this organic fraction put into the digester, and then we can produce biogas out of MSW. And we have some client also using this, because in some provinces in Thailand or in some area that incineration is not possible due to the financial issue or public acceptance or whatever, or maybe MSW is not big enough to do incineration, then Popup can offer the turnkey solution on biogas production. And we also, I think, one of the first company in Thailand that have our own technology to do this kind of organic waste to energy in Thailand.
Super. So I think that is a case study in Rayong, right? Rayong.
Right.
Okay, let's
Yes.
look at the video. Let's look at the video on that project. Yeah?
Great.
Hello and welcome to Popup channel. This is Dr. Kong from Popup. In this video, I will show you the first full-scale and largest biogas power plant using organic fraction of municipal solid waste. The factory is located in the Integrated MSW Management Center in Rayong Province. This factory was constructed by Bankai Popup joint venture. The project has a capacity of 225 tons per day and is decided to receive the feedstock from the nearby MSW sorting plants. Without further ado, let's dive in. The project has three main processes consisting of: first, cleaning and shredding process; second, biogas production process, and third, electricity generation process. The cleaning and shredding process started from the wheel loader taking the new feedstock into the walking floor. This machine feeds the waste slowly to the downstream units so that it can be cleaned and shredded effectively. To remove metals from the waste stream, a magnetic separator is applied. Metals are non-biodegradable and can cause clogging in the pipes and the downstream processes, so they must be taken out. The waste then enters the disc screen, which has around 25 mm opening. The waste with a size larger than 25 mm will be carried forward and then out to the waste bunker before disposal in the landfill. The waste with a size less than 25 mm will fall down to the disc screen. Now it is ready for the extensive shredding using the ball mill machine. Waste will be slammed and shredded with the weight of numerous metal balls while this machine is continuously turning. The result is the slurry at the outlet. However, we still have some impurity in the waste, so it needs another screening step using a vibrating screen. This machine has an opening of 6 mm. The larger parts will be sent out and disposed in the landfill. Afterwards, the smaller parts will be delivered to the sand and grit removal tank. The purpose of this process is to remove sand. This is done by slowly turning the waste while keeping the organic content in suspension. The clean slurry will then go to the anaerobic digestion process, which consists of one acid tank and two anaerobic digester tanks. Acid bacteria converts large molecular organic matters into smaller molecules, which are suitable for the following digestion step. The acid tank is installed in a single-layer membrane roof to control any odor. Methanogens convert organic matters to biogas, which compose mainly of methane and carbon dioxide gases. The digestion tanks are constructed of reinforced concrete for the longer lifetime. At the top, the double membrane roofs are installed. At the side, there are 4 side entry mixers. This process is designed as a continuous stir tank reactor or CSTR. This kind of configuration is suitable for high solid content feedstock, such as organic fraction from MSW. This whole plant is designed to produce 15,000 normal cubic meter per day of biogas. Before the biogas is sent to the electricity generation process, it has to go through biogas hydrogen sulfide scrubber. This is to remove harmful H2S gas. Afterwards, moisture will be removed with the help of the biogas dryer. The analysis showed that the methane is around 65%, carbon dioxide is around 32.5%, oxygen at 0.5%, and hydrogen sulfide is around 0 ppm. This biogas is now ready to go to the biogas generator set. Around 12,000 normal cubic meter per day will be delivered to the biogas genset here. It has a capacity of around 1,000 kilowatt per hour and can produce around 7.13 million kilowatt hour per year. Now you can see that the genset is operating and the power output is around 800 kilowatt. The rest of the biogas, around 3,000 normal cubic meter per day, is delivered to the nearby factory for compost drying. All instruments and equipment are controlled by PLC and SCADA system. It is very simple to control the operation and see the historical data. The SCADA system is written by Popup engineers to suit each project site. The benefits of this project are as follows. First, this is an alternative and suitable approach for MSW disposal. It also minimizes the disturbing odor from the waste, as the process is a fully closed system. Secondly, it can produce electricity as a byproduct from digestion. Third, it also reduces greenhouse gases up to 46,000 tons CO2 equivalent per year when considering only methane capture. If you are interested in applying this kind of project to your own town or city, please contact us by seeing the description below. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please support us by sharing or hitting the subscribe button. Bye for now and see you in the next video.
Wow, very interesting project. Looks like a pretty advanced and controlled, systematic controls over there. Yeah?
Right. Yes.
And how long been in operation now, this project?
Actually, based on the contract, we have to operate it 6 months after fully start up the process. That has been done, and I think just 2 weeks ago we completed the first sync with Provincial Electricity Authority of PEA. So the next stage is we have to hand over the plant to the owner, which is the Rayong Authority, so that they can use it for their own MSW.
Is it invested by the government or provincial government, or it's a BOT project?
It's right. It's the investment by the provincial government. So Popup only the turnkey contractor.
Okay. And your gas, the user 800 kilowatt, the electricity, is it consistent in terms of?
Yeah. That during the time of recording that video, we didn't have the load yet because we didn't completed the first thing yet. But we have to do with the what you call a load bank, so that it generate it kind of mimic the use of electricity, and the load bank has a capacity of only 800 kilowatt. So that's why we have to operate it at that level. But when we did the first thing, we operated at 1,000 kilowatt. The difference is because we have to wait for the PEA to check the equipment, and also we need to wait for the licenses. For the last 1 year, the licenses and permitting authority, they has been hit very hard by COVID, so they lack manpower, and so getting permit is quite slow for the past 1 year. But I mean, we got everything now, so that's why we already have done it.
And how long this project took time to build and operate? Of course, except the COVID time. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think the construction took about a year and maybe a year and a half, and then we operated for based on the contract. We have to operate it for 6 months, but then 6 months turned into a year and a half or almost 2 years because we couldn't get the licenses, and based on the TOR, we need to complete the first thing before we can transfer it to the owner. And during the time we have to wait, and that's unfortunate, but we have to work around it.
Yeah, that's a reality. So
right.
And you have interesting technology that the slurry making, you're using the ball mills, is it? Is it you have can you talk more about the technology?
Yeah, sure. This ball mill is actually the machine is mainly used in the mining business or mining industry. These balls are used for mining the what you call the stones or the calcium that you have to mince it into a very small particles. Not many people use it for organic waste. The first time we mentioned it to the Chinese company that we want to use it for organic waste, they said, oh, no, we never done it before. So we decided, we modified it to suit our use, especially the entrance and the exit. Then we can put the organic waste in and mince it into a very fine particle. The reason why we have to do it is because we use the CSTR tank, which has a big mixer that turning. So to make this CSTR system works effectively, you need very small particles to enter the digester. The smaller it is, the better for the bacteria to degrade the organic matter, and the more biogas it will produce. So we search for several kind of the machine that can shred it, like traditional shredder, hammer mill shredder, you name it. We just go to see it, and we thought might not work that way. Even if you shred it to a very small level, smallest one that you can achieve using organic waste shredder from Europe, you're probably gonna get the smallest about 30 millimeter, and that still may not work well for us. If you saw in the video, the screen, the vibrating screen at the end has an opening of around 6 millimeter. So to achieve 6 millimeter, you need a very powerful machine. But I mean, it's a good machine, but it comes at a price that the electricity consumption is really high for this machine to start it up. I think it's about 400 kilowatt or so. But when you start operating it, the operating load become less, maybe 60% of that.
Yeah, but it's unique technology using the ball mills to crush the solids, organics into slurry. So that is a Popup technology. Yeah.
I would say it's we applied it from our experience.
Yeah, I mean, most of the wherever they're in other industries, they use the small size ball mills to where they make the dispersions, where they're breaking down the various chemicals and particularly the powder mixed with the water. They use a lot on this ball mill.
Right.
So yeah, so it's good. So in terms of the project cost, are you able to talk about a little bit project cost for the government or the provincial? Is it a big project?
Difficult to say.
Okay, let's.
If you're interested, I can say it off the record.
Sure. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Go into the capacity of the plant. Currently, what capacity? It's important about the incoming. We call the raw material. Okay, how consistent they are, and how is the because we have rain, there is so much moisture content also there. So how you guys are managing the raw materials for that plant?
For this Rayong plant, you mean, right?
Yeah.
Basically, we get the raw material from the nearby RDF plant, because in Rayong, I think they get around 1,000 tons or more of MSW a day. So there are two other companies operating RDF plant, but these RDF RDF plant only interested in the RDF that they can sell to the cement industry, or they can put it in the power plant. So they're not interested in the organic fraction at all. So we take the organic fraction from them. We do cleaning, shredding, as you see in the video, and we generate biogas from it.
And I think that because of you have a guaranteed supply of organic fraction, that makes it easy to operate. Is it right? Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes. Usually, if you have, let's say, if you have 100 tons of MSW, and you can separate the organic fraction. When I say organic fraction, it's not pure organic. It has about 30 to 40% impurity. To separate the organic, usually in Thailand, we use trommel screen or disc screen with the opening of around 70 to 80 millimeter. So anything that is smaller than this size will be taken out. Anything that is bigger would be, go through the downstream and other processes, just such as the wind shifter, or finer disc screen to get the RDF. So we have plenty of organic fraction in Rayong area that we can produce electricity. Interestingly, because of COVID, Rayong used to be a kind of a touristic place for Thailand and maybe for foreigner. So they are quite, when we look at the composition of MSW in Rayong, we found that before and after COVID, the composition is different, which after COVID, you get lesser food waste because people would eat more at home. Restaurants were not open, hotels were open with limitation, and there's not much tourists. So food waste become less, and that's why our plant, instead of producing maybe 1.5 megawatt of electricity, we produce 1 megawatt, or maybe instead of having more biogas that we should have from the design, it become less. But we cannot do anything with that because it's COVID situation.
I think once things get normal, maybe the things will be different anyway. And so
Right.
Okay. We talking about municipal solid waste. Probably you may, there are many other provinces also implemented certain, MSW plants. Some have difficulties, in operating it. And in your experience, why some MSW plants have difficulties? What are the challenges that you see? What you maybe have seen or heard, in your point of view.
When you say MSW, does it mean like RDF or incineration or any kind of MSW management and treatment?
Right.
Yeah, very interesting because Thailand has, MSW has become the national agenda since 7 years ago when the new government took over. And from that time, I think there was a lot of encouragement from the government to do MSW treatment projects. There's a lot of technology available, but as I mentioned, nowadays people accept that incineration is the most suitable. I would not say the best, is the most suitable at this moment. Why they fail is, I think, it starts from the design, from the beginning of the design. Some people think that some processes will work for this kind of MSW, like mingle. We put everything into the rubbish bin. We don't separate plastic. We don't separate the organic food waste. So when it's got mixed up, the composition is really difficult to take it apart now. And so if you think, some people will think that, okay, I want to use gasification, producing gas and generate electricity. Some people say they can use pyrolysis to produce the oil, the bio oil or whatever, and put it into the genset. I would say the technology is good and is proven with the biomass, but to apply it to the MSW in Thailand is still a very challenging task that a lot of people fail. I mean, there's many examples. I would not name them, but I think they should look at. There were a lot of reports, even from the JICA or a reputable international institute, that when you face with a mingle MSW, I think the most suitable technology would be incinerator with the stroke rate system. And maybe the biogas also is suitable if you can separate the organic very well.
Yeah, so of course, if you can burn everything and come into ashes, it's much easier. So incineration is always a solution, but you can recover energy by going into the biogas. How about the compost? Where is this? Any company MSW plants are really working on the composting side also?
Yes. Even in Bangkok, MBA plant, they have a compost plant from organic waste, and they use it in their own plantation. But to commercialize this kind of compost, it's I would say it's not very easy. It's still a challenge because people would not, when you grow your plant in your own garden, you want the soil or the compost to be really clean, without plastic or glass or metals. But then if you produce compost from this kind of mixed waste, you end up somehow with a small debris of plastic and metals, and it's really difficult to take it out. So I would say it would, I think most of MSW plant that produce compost, they have difficulty in selling the compost. And maybe, whether it's a solid compost or liquid compost, still really difficult due to the perception and acceptance of the public. I think in some Europe, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, continue, please.
I think if Thailand is serious about MSW, the government should promote this kind of food waste compost by promoting the waste segregation at home, and then there should be some collection system to take this food waste to do compost. Like we don't have it now. So for me, as an environmental engineer, I produce compost at home and sprinkle the compost in my garden.
That's nice. I think there are many portable composting machines also have been coming, and the household designs also available in the nowadays in terms of the all the your organic waste. Yeah, so it's good. Can you talk a little bit of RDF? You are sourcing from for the Rayong project. I think the 2-3 RDF plants are supplying your waste for organic fraction. How is their business? Do you have some idea about what they're doing RDF? how the situation is, market situation for the RDFs.
Right. Good question. RDF plant is still a good business at this moment because the coal price is going up really high now. The largest buyers in RDF is actually the cement industry, and they want to. I think some of them got a mandate to use alternative fuel rather than coal or heavy fuel oil. So they are buying a lot of RDF through their cement production to substitute coal. In this case, it's a good way to get rid of MSW because if we look at the composition of MSW in Thailand, about 25 to 30% is plastic and paper, and these two waste has high heating value that can benefit as RDF if you can separate them with low moisture content. You get very high value RDF that you can sell to the cement industry. But some other industry also use RDF, but really limited. So I would say the main market is actually for the cement industry.
And you also mentioned about oil generation from waste. I think there is a project called plastic waste to the some kind of oil. Are there any projects going on in the plastic waste to convert into the the fuel oil?
Yes, there are indeed. I know a couple of them, and I think there are some challenging issues in this kind of projects. First, you need to get quite homogeneous and low, I would say low contaminants or high impurity of plastic to produce reasonable quality of oil, because otherwise you will get oil end up in different kind of composition that swing, and because you also have to get a certain kind of plastic as well to go to this pyrolysis. To actually also this oil also have previously there used to be a big market because the government tried to support this kind of pyrolysis oil, but then now the prices crashes because a lot of the refinery industry, they refuse to do refining of this kind of oil because it's contaminated their steam distillery column. So the solution could be to use this oil to produce electricity or as a substitute for heavy fuel oil. But you need some kind of purification for this oil to work. So that's the second challenging task. But some of the projects are still functioning.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, people are looking at alternative ways of utilizing the waste, getting some recovery resource from the waste. Yeah. Let's get into the energy crops. Okay, I think that you guys also Popup is doing energy crops as well. I mean, in terms of biogas, particularly the Napier grass, And, can you talk about those experiences about these energy crops?
Right. Yes. Actually, for energy crop, we did actually almost 2 years research into the energy crop, and we make a pilot plant scale. This makes us get a lot of data and information on how the energy crop is degraded and how the biogas is generated. The difficulties about the energy crop is a lot of the energy crop plant in Thailand, they are struggling because the raw material, the napier grass, it's not an easy raw material. Actually, it's one of the hardest one to work with, because when it gets degraded, there are some kind of chemical in the grass that can limit or inhibit the bacterial growth in the system. Yeah, there's a lot of technical complication. That's one issue. And the other issue is to mix them properly in the CSTR tank. You need a special kind of mixer that maybe we have to rely now on the European mixers, because especially Germany, because they have most experienced biogas mixer in the world. For Popup, we also work with other European company, one European company that has a lot of experience on energy crop. Because although we have done research and development, but we want to make sure that our first plant or second plant work well. So we kind of team up with a European company.
And any other companies doing the napier grass biogas in Thailand successfully? Are there any companies are doing?
From what I heard, several companies have done it, but they are struggling to meet the design value. Let me explain. That means maybe they say they guarantee that they will produce this much of biogas, but then at the end they only produce this much. So it's difficult to deal with napier grass. And the other thing is napier grass is a grass. The composition, the quality of the grass fluctuated. I mean, I have analyzed several samples of grass from different locations, and we found that then they're not the same. They're not exactly the same, I would say, because maybe because of the soil, maybe because of the water that they have. So to make it successful, we have to be really careful with the design, maybe more safety factor, powerful mixers to make it works. Because when you put the grass into the water, I mean, you can test it yourself. When you put grass into the water, it does not settle. It floats on the surface. So to mix this kind of material, we usually people have never done it before, because usually we only mix wastewater or pig manure that settle to the bottom. Then you mix it up from bottom to the top. But to mix something that float on the top to go to the bottom, go like this, it needs some kind of a special mixers to make it work.
You are saying that Germany is one of the well experienced in this mixing technology. Is it right? Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Okay. We talk about various issues on the biogas and what else you expect from the government in terms of policies to have better business for you as a biogas projects, or even the companies or customers invest in the biogas plants? What else needed? Hopefully somebody from the government view this interview and they take some your suggestion instead of critical, but maybe suggestions would be welcome, right? We should consider to do as a project developer point of view. Yeah.
Well, I would say this question is difficult to answer, but basically I think I hope that they will realize that biogas production is not only about waste treatment. It's about energy security of the country, and also the climate change combat for the whole society. So they should put some more emphasis and encouragement for people to do biogas. And then if they have the mindset like this, the policy will come out to be benefit the biogas business. And they should also look at the people in the biogas business as people who generate or who do prosperity to the country, not just afraid of the biogas or renewable energy people to get rich, because nowadays we don't get really high benefit anymore from this kind of business. It's long gone, and we don't expect really high return on this. We just want to continue doing what we are doing best, and to serve the society, and to create the benefit generated back to the country and to the society as a whole.
Let's move into the Popup expansion of profile into the solar energy. I think you have products on the solar. What kind of things you guys are doing? What kind of technical collaboration for the solar panels and things? Can you talk more about on your experience with the solar energy? Or integrating with any of the biogas plants, plus the solar, wherever there is empty space, wherever the roofs are there combined together, you can also additional source of energy as well. And so what is going on?
Right. The thing is, I mean, we look at the renewable energy and we think that solar is actually very attractive because they are very simple to install, and they're very effective, generate electricity. There's no living microorganism involved. So very straightforward. You just put on the panels, inverter, and that's it. You can generate power. So simple. And we think that Thailand has a lot of potential for solar power plant, although with or without the support of the government. People will eventually, I think people are looking at this kind of system. They put it in their home, in the office, in school, hospital, or factory. The market is huge and there's really high potential. So that is why we expand our business from just wastewater treatment and biogas to solar and water reuse. And as you mentioned, we might in the future integrate the solar system into the biogas or wastewater treatment when there's a large area in lagoons or tanks, or we can put solar system. No problem at all. So that's, I think we want to look at new businesses that's in line with our policy, which is renewable energy. And in the future, we will get into a more kind of advanced technology as well. But I will keep it for now. Once I complete my research, I will let you know.
Sure. I mean, as you mentioned, that it has a huge potential, and also there are a lot of players also there in the market. But there is huge opportunity. The whole world is getting hot and hot every day, and it just need to absorb as much solar energy as possible. Save energy, recover getting electricity out of the solar. Okay. Well, we have addressed lots of issues, Dr. Apipong. I really enjoyed this conversation. I wanted to dwell more, for the sake of the time, and the conversation here. Before we close this session, give a final remarks and for the people who want to enter the biogas business, what else opportunities are there, okay, or in waste treatment business, what to be careful about, okay, and in particular, we're talking about the Thailand market, yeah, please.
All right. Of course, I would say the biogas business is still quite good in Thailand. Not only in the wastewater, but also in other kind of ways. And we think that there's a huge potential for other kind of renewable energy like solar as well. Popup is one of the leading green technology in this field, and we are ready to do turnkey or BOT or BO businesses. Whether you are any kind of industries, you can please. We are really pleased if we can contact you, or you contact us. You can contact Popup by calling the phone, or contact through the website. We also have the Line official @Popup that you can contact, and we could keep in touch. And whether it's kind of biogas, waste treatment, MSW treatment, and energy crop, we can work together, and that also will help us to combat climate change and making the environment clean for us and for the future generation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Apipong. It's an interesting and very intriguing discussion on various issues. I really enjoyed the time. Thank you once again, Sawadika. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. My pleasure to be with you, Param.
We talk more some other time with some other issues. I wanted to keep going, right. Keep doing the good for the society, in particularly being environmental engineers, from the same institute of AIT. Okay, so I'm glad that we have a chance to talk together like this today. Yeah, so
right.
I
sure.
enjoyed it.
Maybe we can talk face to face next time.
Next time we'll do.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Apipong. Appreciate the time. Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Guys, that's the end of this conversation today with Dr. Apipong Lamsam. He is discussing about the biogas production and waste treatment in Thailand. I hope that you get some useful information out of this conversation, and you can see he discussed about the challenges, some of the successful technologies, particularly from Popup itself. As you know, Popup is one of the longest serving company in biogas and waste treatment. So if you have any more information, more assistance you need, you can just go to popup.com, or is it at Popup is a line ID, is it right? Yeah.
Yes, line ID.
Yeah, and Popup line ID.
But if you don't have line, don't worry.
Yeah, go to the website popup.com. You'll find all you need,
right.
And the person, Dr. Apipong Lamsam, is the MD, is managing this company. So feel free to reach out to him. Once again, thank you all for joining this session, and you can always check this whole session in a record version on YouTube, okay, on the Technobit channel. And if you need any assistance from us, from Technobase, you know how to reach to us. I think most of you have my contact information for joining this session today. So please do contact me or any assistance you need. Once again, thank you all. I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you very much.
Thank you, participant. Thank you, Param.